Welcome, Ron Carter.
Thank, thank you. And I will be welcome to everyone who shows up. They'll get my handshake for being not just my friend, but knowing who Harry Belafonte was. I have a big secret that I'll expose right now, that I always kept a secret because I thought that I need an edge on people. Well, my edge was that Harry Belafonte was my landlord. What a gracious, brilliant, bright, handsome, wonderful singer to have as a landlord. I think the story how I got into this building is one that people who live in New York looking for an upgrade or a larger space than they're living need to find out. My late wife and I were walking down West End Avenue. We had been to several apartments around the mid 80s. And we were told that they were interested in having their apartment filled, but they didn't want musicians. Well, I said, not even a good one? Well, that wasn't quite the answer that got me in. So my wife and I continued to walk along. We saw this building further down the street, and we went in to see if took a chance what they had any vacancies. They said, well, they were looking to try to increase their spaces that they had vacancies, and I went on to fill out an application and see where it goes. Well, I said, okay. So we filled it out, and as we were leaving, the person said, well, Harry Belafonte is part of the responsibility of making tenants available. So we'll give you his application and we'll contact you if there's a chance that you can move into this building. The backstory to this is, of course, Harry Belafonte was the first African-American to have a million-seller record, LP. that's this big. And to make a million-seller was clearly amazing to all of us in the music industry, especially as a vocalist singing a specific native language, Caribbean. So at this time, Harry was getting very busy in New York. He's doing concerts, he's making records. And his musical director happened to be the person who was a big contract in the New York music scene, especially interested in having people of color do these projects, the various commercial recordings. And he became a very good friend of mine and called me for some of his records. Well, I guess Harry had seen the applications that were coming in to see who was applying to live in this building, and he saw that my application had the word musician. So he asked my friend, do you know this guy? And this person said, why do you ask him? So Harry told him that he was applying to get in my building. So my friend told him, well, Harry, you should let him in last week. I've been here over 50 years, thanks to Harry and my friend who trusted my sense of adulthood. When Harry and I talked, it was never about politics. He wanted to know about the bass. He wanted to know about music. He wanted to know how I picked those notes I picked and what happened when someone didn't like him. I said, well, Mr. Belafonte, I never called him Harry. Mr. Belafonte, I think that my choice is as good as they're going to find. And if they're the right person who's listening to me, they may like mine better. I said, well, Ron, don't forget that idea. Just kind of keep plugging along, and at some point you'll find notes that everybody wants to hear. I've trusted his judgment all these years, even though he's no longer with us, and have been happy to follow his advice. Harry was known to be a very social person, social in that he wasn't just locked into his physical environment. And several times when I was working in New York over the past years in the 60s and 70s, Harry would come in with several people and take a table near the band and enjoy the music. I thought that was incredible. I mean, here's this person who's got these accolades behind him, who's a moving figure in the world of civil rights, and who's got some great points of view of how to make stuff more equal. And just talking the talk and walking the walk. He's sitting down in front of me with a bottle of beer or soda water, listening to us play some jazz songs with some wonderful jazz players. So now this guy, whoever he is, not knowing him very well, he's got a sense of a big picture of the world. And I couldn't imagine having this person who's that influential in the world to be the guy who I'm writing a check to get my rent. I thought that was astonishing. Harry was a gentle person. He loved my kids as he loved his kids. He would get up in the morning, we would talk in the front as we were getting our morning newspapers, and he asked me how was the gig last night and how did I get up so early in the morning with the kids and work until late. I say, Harry, that's what I do. I'm a bass player of occupation, but I'm a dad too. He was a very, very gentle person. But he had a steely look at it that when you knew that here comes a big point, give it your undivided attention. Before you knew it, bam, the idea was in your head that he gave you a sense of another view of looking at life as we knew it. He was a person who had varied interests that most people didn't get a chance to see because they knew him as a civil rights icon. Some of them knew his singing, but that wasn't their view of him. Here's a person who made the civil rights being bright lights because he spoke the language of civil rights. He understood what equality meant. He understood that we weren't all getting it. And he was the first person to stand up for his career. He put his career on the line to make sure everyone could get in to see him, as a very simple example. We miss him. Later on in his life, when he was kind of winding down his career, and he had moved from the building and gone on to another part of his life, I knew where he lived. And one day I called him and said, Harry, Mr. Belafonte, I want to come by and just kind of spend a moment with you. I'll bring my bass. He said, oh, would you really do this? Mr. Belafonte, I've been picking it up for 65 years. Another 2 blocks won't hurt me. So I went to his residence and we played and he sang for about an hour. And what a better way for me to pay a tribute to a loving person, a great person, the person who can call not just my friend, but my landlord. Thank you very much, Harry. I know you're here, and I'm with you too. Thanks.